the Business 20 South Africa has seen calls for investments and policy that will promote and push for the local manufacturing of health products. Government, stakeholders and businesses met in Johannesburg for conversations around advancing health access through local manufacturing and policy innovation. Now, this is a G20 initiative that is looking at the country using its presidency to improve healthcare access and equity. The event has seen a multinational health company, Haleon, pledge a 750 million rand investment that will go to the company's facilities in Cape Town. SABC News economics reporter Katlego Legodi has that story for us.
Conversations centered around the country's G20 presidency well underway countrywide. You find us this afternoon in Sandton, where we're looking at a conversation centered really around access to healthcare, issues around equity coming under the spotlight, and really various of the government department and stakeholders moving into these conversations, looking at capitalizing on the country's G20 presidency. So this afternoon you find us in conversation with Haleon. This is a company, a multinational company that today made an announcement of an investment that will go into the country's healthcare sector, but they do have some of those products that they're championing here in South Africa, one of them being Grandpa, and they'll give us a sense of this investment and how then we're pushing for the localization, the manufacturing, the localization of and manufacturing of these products here at home. I'm going to bring into the conversation with us this afternoon the General Manager of Iran, who'll just give us a sense of how we find ourselves here. Really the ball rolling, you don't want to be left behind. As an organization, we see you just inviting and partnering with government as well around these conversations of the B20. But before we even go into how we find ourselves here, let's just get to know you a bit, as an organization and some of the work that you've been doing here in South Africa. We'll talk about that investment. That is a very important one. And yeah, go into how localization will help champion your business as well. Welcome to the SABC, Farhan.
Thank you. So, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me here. I'll give you a perspective in terms of, I'll break it down in a couple of things. Like, for example, right now when we talk about Haleon is the largest healthcare company in the world. With the brands like Centrum, Edwil, Sensodyne, Ecofresh. But in South Africa, the bigger brands like Med11, Grandpa, Eno, these are the big ones, even Ecofresh here. So we have been in the country for many, many years. Grandpa also has a legacy, is a long legacy. One important fact is that Grandpa, the only place that is produced within the world is in Cape Town only. So now in terms of what we want to do is actually to make sure, just not because of the B20 and the stuff that is happening, which is really, really important. What we want is that we want to localize as much as what we want to sell and what we want in terms of reaching to the consumers, in terms of access. Already currently we are producing 85% of the products that we sell in South Africa. And then we also export to 13 other countries, which includes Canada, Spain, Portugal, but also rest of the African countries. So the objective is to make sure that we continue investing in people, in communities, and also in the manufacturing sector, so that we are able to develop the local talent. We work with the universities, we work with, in terms of Spaza academies, Grandpa has done a really good job. We are working with 1,700 different vendors to upskill them. Then in terms of Ecofresh, we have Ecofresh Library Initiative, where we go to different schools, government schools, where we have prefab containers. We convert them into a library, we put it there and hand it over to the schools. And the objective is that we work towards improvement and development of the community. So in terms of not just manufacturing, everywhere the objective is to invest.
Let's also talk about the investment that you announced here today. I mean, this would see millions going into infrastructure development here in South Africa, but you're also saying that you would want to ensure that these products that are manufactured here find meaning elsewhere outside of South Africa in terms of our imports and exports drive. Let's talk about this investment. How much is it? Let's break it down to our viewers at home.
So right now, in terms of the infrastructure and expansion within the Cape Town premises factory that we have, the manufacturing plant that we have, it's about 750 million rands. Now, this is the investment that we would be putting in the next 3 years, starting in November. And the objective is to upskill, bring the latest technology, expand the capacity, train the local youth, invest in them in terms of these are the guys who would be taking over the technology from the best in the world and implementing it here, and then making sure that we are able to, through this investment, which is, by the way, on top of 250 million rands that we have invested in the last 2 years. Now, this investment is to make sure that we make in South Africa, for South Africa, but at the same time, we make in Africa for Africa. So most of this capacity enhancement and modernization is actually to make sure that we are able to reach out to the South African consumers early at the right time, access is ensured, and at the same time we are able to export within Africa.